Prime the pump of your memory. I wrote about the memory list in previous videos of this series. The memory list is the most easily accessible tool to compile and then use in your memoir writing. Following close in utility as a memory jog is the process of writing itself. Writing will help you remember more and more. Like water flowing from a hand pump that has been primed, memories will begin to flow once you prime them by writing. As you write, from somewhere you may have thought you had no access to, memories will come. The more you write, the more you will remember. How it was to have a new sibling to share your parents' attention. How your grandparents looked at each other across a room, their eyes full of love for one another. How insecurity tormented you at your first school dance. These memories and many more will flow once you prime the pump of your memory. Don't worry about whether or not your writing is good enough. As you write, be comfortable with letting first drafts be first drafts. They will be rough, incomplete, and even contradictory. Thinking in terms of good enough is a trap that will prevent you from writing a lot or from writing frequently. Thinking about good enough will inhibit your ability to remember. Unfortunately, we all have an inner censor judging our actions. It is the inner censor who asks if our writing is good enough. Our inner censor causes us to hold back, instilling fear that we will look silly. Only the inner censor expects you to write elegant prose on your first attempts. So tell your inner censor to relax. You are not competing for the Nobel Prize in Literature. You are merely priming the pump of your memoir writing. If you haven't already written some of your memories, select an item on your memory list. Turn your computer on or pick up a pen. Don't stop until you've composed a few pages of memories. If you need more help with compiling a memory list, see the video in this series devoted entirely to compiling one. Writing is a different skill from that of remembering, but developing skill with one will enhance the other. The more you write, the more easily your memories will return to you. Don't stop to figure out how the snippets you are writing may eventually fit together into a story. These bits and pieces will accumulate as you recall more and continue to write them down. Giving yourself permission to write in small, separate segments, these are vignettes, scenes, and dialogues, is a great way to start writing. Because there will always be your memory list of things to write about, you will never experience what is called the writer's block. Fitting your pieces together to craft a polished story will come later, in the rewriting stage, but right now, it's important to get text, any text, down on paper. If you start by writing on paper, here is a suggestion to make this early task easier. Write on the backs of scrap paper cut into half sheets. This will help free you from any obligation you may feel to fill whole blank pages. Feeling obligated to write can quickly make a drudgery of what ought to be pleasurable. Put these half pages of vignettes, scenes, and dialogue in any order that makes sense to you at the moment. Don't belabor making sense of things at this stage. Write more vignettes, scenes, or dialogue as they occur to you. When it feels appropriate, go through your individual stories and create an order for them as seems best. As you reread them, note where you need to fill in gaps in your emerging memoir or make transitions, such as, and because Uncle Boris came to America, my mother was able to, and you fill the rest. These transitions will connect the separate components to each other. What were separate vignettes, scenes, and jottings at first, and perhaps for a long time, even as you continue to write, will add up to readable, informative stories. When you add fillers and transitions. Eventually, many of these stories will take their place in the chapters of your memoir. After you have many pages of text, the time will come for you to decide that this is better than that, to expand on this piece that now seems too short, or to make more concise what had once seemed already economical prose. This is your editorial work, and it has its place in life writing, but you are not yet at that stage. Writing now, you are priming the pump with first drafts. Let your first drafts be first drafts. People often wonder, am I starting to write at the correct place? The fact is, any place you start to write is right. Where is not as important as the very act of starting. If you want more help with writing a first draft, go to thememoirnetwork.com and look up Writing Your First Memoir Draft. It is a comprehensive 10-part course in writing your initial draft. Free yourself once and for all from the sense of obligation to write from the beginning. Start writing your story from anywhere you want to start writing, and write for as long as you wish to write. Don't fret about how to start your story. If you do, you'll get bogged down at this stage. Remember, it is the reader's experience of a story that starts at the beginning, not the writer's. Compose the beginning of your memoir during the final stages of writing. The beginning sets the tone for a story, but until you have written the story and have come to understand its storylines and its meaning, you may not be able to establish the tone the beginning needs. Each stage of your writing will provide its own rewards and challenges. Perfection is something to strive for later, but not at this early stage of life writing. For now, retire the inner censor and strive for volume. Here is an action step. Don't let your inner censor carry the day. If you are anxious about writing, it may help to write about your early writing experiences. Did school, a particular teacher, or a relative make you too sensitive to the inner censor, too critical of yourself? Write about learning to write, about the history of your experience of writing. Might it have been penmanship or theme composition that closed you off? Did you face such constant criticism that it seemed impossible to have anything you wrote accepted by a critical teacher? Or was that the harsh voice of your own inner censor protecting itself? Become aware of your writing history by writing about it. To paraphrase a well-known statement, those who ignore their personal writing history are doomed to repeat it. Personify your inner censor. Imagine it as a little devil or a sprite. Tell this creature its presence is unwelcome and unnecessary. See, in your mind's eye, of course, your inner censor turning away, disappearing, melting like the wicked witch of the West. In conclusion, whatever you do today, write a bit on your memoir.
Yeah.